How come every time somebody says it's better to wait until you're married before you have kids, people are always like, well, he can still leave you even if you're married. He can still leave you even... Duh!
I'm glad you stopped by, amazing viewer. Today's video will be addressing the whole situation of marriage and children, but there will be so many aspects to it. Before we go further, let me let you listen to this.
If you have the choice, get married before you have children. No disrespect at all to any women who have had children outside of marriage. Ladies, I see you doing your thing. Shout out you guys.
I just don't understand why people think marriage is a bigger commitment than having a baby with someone.
So y'all mean to tell me that it should just be okay to want children, but not to want marriage?
I'm so glad that you're starting to have such conversations, and I'm so glad that all the millennials are now sensitizing young generations to think through life based off their experiences. So I will let you listen to the flow of these videos, listen to their entire thoughts, and let's discuss. Don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comment section. We are here for educational purposes. Your opinion is most welcomed. And thanks for your continued support to my content. And if you're new here, click that subscribe button. Like the video for recommendation. And let's go.
So in the video, I told y'all that he was 40 with no kids. Apparently, that's a red flag to some of you all. Okay, I'm 31 with no kids. And if I don't get a ring, honey, I'm going to also be 40, 50, 60, and so forth. With no kids. So go ahead and add me to the red flag club. I don't know why being 40 with no kids is a red flag. Because if he had 5 kids with 5 different baby mamas, that would also be a red flag, right? Or if he had simply 2 kids that was like maybe 1 year old, 2 years old, and he's no longer with the baby mama, that would also be a red flag, right? Yeah, he 40 with no kids, period.
One of the biggest reasons that I won't have children before marriage is because I am not going to sign up to be committed to this man forever if he has not already signed up to being committed to me forever. I also trust myself deeply to vet the man that I am married to. So if he hasn't been around long enough for me to be married to him, he definitely hasn't been around long enough for me to have a child with him. I consider having a child with me a massive privilege, and I also take the responsibility of furthering a bloodline of somebody else as an honor, and I take it very seriously, and I will not be furthering any man's bloodline. I will not be giving somebody the honor of having their children be raised by me, who will be like the best mother in the entire world, and I will not give somebody the honor of sharing DNA with me in a child, and I just won't do it because I respect myself so much and I see myself so much as sacred. This is how I personally view it. So I view myself in that such high esteem that I will not just allow any man to have a child with me. He absolutely must be my husband. And if he's my husband, I know he's a wonderful man because I trust myself to vet a wonderful man.
If you have the choice, get married before you have children. No disrespect at all to any women who have had children outside of marriage. Ladies, I see you doing your thing. Shout out you guys. However, I would always advise us as women to do our due diligence and try to set ourselves up in the best situation, because these men are treacherous, okay? Why I say try to have a baby with a man that you are married to is for a few reasons. 1, a man that has made the decision to marry you over any other woman more than likely has a high opinion of you, or a higher opinion of you than he has of other women. 2, that man now has legal consequences for his actions. And 3, you as a woman did everything you could do to assure the best setup for your child. And again, I am not speaking down on women who have had children out of marriage. That is not my intention with this video. As a woman, the only difference between having a child with someone who you're not married to and married to is that they have legal consequences. They have to answer to a higher power than you. And a lot of men are irresponsible and flighty because they don't have any accountability. They have nothing to lose. So this is just some advice from me Take it or leave it. I'm not judging anyone. However, I always think as women, we should be protecting ourselves as much as possible, because these men, honey, oh no, you're going to pay me if you play up.
I'm not saying this from a place of sitting on a high horse. Believe me, if it wasn't for God, hello, if it wasn't for certain things, then I possibly too could have been a single mom. But now on the other side of being married and being covered, there are men who don't even like their wives, but will fight and protect and take care of them because that's their wife. So don't let people say that titles don't matter, all of that. That is a lie. That is a lie. Men do not play about their wives, whether they like them or not. So you give yourself a better chance as a woman to be covered in marriage than doing it single. Just my opinion.
So y'all mean to tell me that it should just be okay to want children but not to want marriage? That's insane. Like when you say it out loud, I want kids but I don't want no husband. Like that, like just logically, who, like, does your children even matter? Like, you want a child for your own selfish reasons, but what about the family that your child, you know, deserves? How are you risking your life to make such a huge commitment to give to a man, but you don't want marriage? Why not? This comment right here, this woman commented on my post telling me that I'm projecting and she never desired to be married, blah, 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 blah. So I asked her, do you have children? This is her response. My personal business is none of yours, but at the end of the day, marriage is not a priority for me, never has been. AKA, I got kids and I'm not married. My question again, if you don't want to have kids, then I ain't pressuring you to get married, but why not be married if you want kids? But soon as somebody challenge y'all and asks you, now you've proven my point. She got kids, but she never desired marriage. But why not? You know why? Because in our community, in the black community, it is not a priority to be married. It is not encouraged to be married. People promote and they always ask you all the time, when you having kids? Nobody ever says when you going to get married. Why are you not married yet? That is the norm. So many women are coming out and talking about like, well, that's not meant for everybody. Okay, but who says everybody is meant to be a mother? Because we clearly see half the women out here having children ain't qualified at all, but they still doing it.
That there are men out here telling women that they need to have their kid first in order to see if they're wife material. Please tell me she's playing. Please tell me that there are men trying to manipulate y'all like that, because that's the most absurd thing I have ever heard. Now, you know me, I'm not a fan of marriage and or kids, but I know that is backwards. I know if you want a kid, you want the family structure, it would be in the best intent to have the marriage first, make sure y'all can work this marriage together, and then have the kid. But to have the kid and then the marriage, that sounds like backwards. That's just backwards in my opinion. Please let me know. Is this what they're saying out there? Is this how they're finessing y'all? Is this why we got all these kids popping out, but y'all not getting married connected to it or anything like that?
I just don't understand why people think marriage is a bigger commitment than having a baby with someone. Like, if you marry the wrong person, you can divorce them and move on with your life. You can undo a marriage. You can't undo a baby. Once you have a baby with somebody, they're stuck in your life forever. So how is marriage the bigger commitment? And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, divorce is expensive. And a baby isn't? Whatever you're going to pay for a divorce is not even going to come close to what you're going to pay taking care of a child for the next 18 years. Like, I just don't get it.
Marriage protects you and gives you benefits that being a baby mama does not.
This topic right here is why I never understood when people would say that having a child is less of a commitment than marrying someone. I never understood that, because when you have a child, you're creating an actual person, a whole human being, and you are stuck with that other person forever. People love to say, oh, we're stuck for 18 years. No. Every graduation, every birthday, when that child gets older and gets married, when that child gets married, then has kids, you are stuck together forever. Forever. So how are you going to tell me that having a child is less of a commitment than getting married? A child, y'all are stuck together forever. At least with marriage, whether you believe in divorce or not, you could get divorced. But a child, y'all are stuck forever.
Something I will never understand is why is it more of a commitment to get married than to have a baby with someone? When you have a baby with someone, you are stuck dealing with them for at least 18 years. Maybe it's at least 16, depends on the state. But at least 16 years, you have to deal with that person unless they or anything happens like that. If you have a child with someone, that is more permanent than a marriage. You can easily get a divorce. Once you bring a child into this world, they're here. I just feel as though this generation of people today are so lost. They are willing to have a baby with someone, risk their lives if they're a woman, with a man who doesn't want to share his name with you, doesn't want to put you on the house deed, not as a beneficiary on his life insurance plan, no investments in your name, nothing except giving you a child that you now have to take care of. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. How could you think so little of yourself to allow a man to literally rob you of your energy and there's no compensation for it? It is truly blowing minds.
I'm so glad that you are watching to this extent, and if you have not liked the video and subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're waiting for. Like, having children was designed to be done in the setup of marriage, because there are so many people who think that they can easily get pregnant for someone than getting married to them, you know. Having children is a very high commitment, as you've heard in these previous clips that were rolled here. Though so many people believe that marriage is much more harder than having children. So my question to you, if you think that marriage is much more harder because you are fearing to be under someone, to have to submit to someone, do you know how much of a responsibility it is to raise a child? So do you know, I love everyone's opinion right here, but also, do you know the body changes that are involved in having a child? And there's a lot. You can even fall into postpartum depression and you will never recover from it. There's a lot that can happen. So yeah, that's my opinion on this. We are supposed to have children in the setup of marriage for their own protection. I've seen so many creators come on the internet and say, if I knew that I will end up raising this child on my own, I wouldn't have gotten pregnant. And you know, there's also getting pregnant by the wrong person. It's also possible. But if someone has committed to stay with you, it means that they really want to be with you. I don't mean that having children in the setup of marriage is a guarantee that you will have to raise your children with the parent, because you've also seen parents who abandon their children, absent parents, all those kind of things. But it is important for safety reasons to get married first. Let the person love you, choose you, and then settle and have children. I love the girl who said, I respect myself, I respect my body, and I don't want to mix my DNA by someone who doesn't commit to me. I respect myself so much. Like, that's the value that we should give to ourselves. I respect all these creators who have their opinion on this, and I'm glad that we are now starting to have real conversations about life. Before, I used to see this flex, everyone saying, I have 7 baby mamas, baby daddies. I know 7 baby mamas, or I have to find videos that address men at this point, because really, we have to stop these games.
I want my true emotions to be felt through this video. And I want for any young lady, any woman who is considering bringing a child into this world with a man who is not even a good enough partner for you, I want you to listen to this message. I'm 37. I made 37 today. I'm so blessed to have been able to reach this milestone in my life, and I'm a single mother. I'm a single mother not by choice, but I'm a single mother because that was what was best for my child. Because the man that I chose, the man that I failed to pay attention to the red flags because of my self-worth at the time, because of my low self-esteem, because I didn't know who I truly was. I did whatever it is that I needed to do to be able to keep a man that did not want to be kept. And as a result of that, I endured countless years of abuse. I endured countless years of torment. I endured countless years of belittlement, of embarrassment, of ridicule. So many years of that. And I really don't want to get emotional, but I am, because it's about my child. And throughout those years, what people don't understand about emotional and physical abuse is the grooming and how it can make you forget who you are. It can make you forget the things that were instilled in you at birth. You came from a good family. You were raised by a good family. And it takes almost nothing for someone to come into your life who you only want to love you to tear you down and get you to believe all of the horrible things that they're saying about you. That was me. That was me. And because I forgot who I was, because I forgot my strengths and the power that was within me, I allowed myself to have a child with this man. What I want to say to you is this: if a man is not a good partner to you, it is highly likely that they are not going to be a good father for that child. Where I am standing today, I'm stronger. I'm not who I once was. I'm in a lot better of a position. But it's the unnecessary things that come along with it, the unnecessary attachment. You know, I've always been the girl who was able to get away with no attachment. But now, I'm not. And I went 2 years no contact with this man because of the abuse and because of the mental anguish that I was subjected to, because of the abuse that followed with multiple partners that he had during and after our relationship. And just knowing that he was not the best person to be a father to my child. 2 years no contact, still have not spoken to this man. And I literally left it up to him. It was never about he and I. It was always about his influence on my child. And if he couldn't respect me as a mother, if he was going to cause me heartache, if he was going to cause me just pain because he was so upset that he couldn't handle the rejection of the relationship ending and me no longer wanting to be in that environment with him, he was going to make me miserable. So I cut off all contact. I didn't want my daughter to be influenced by that because I've witnessed what he's done and his influence on his other kids. And I said, not this child. So today, or for the past couple of days, he's been calling my mom's phone to talk to my daughter, which I never had any issue with as long as he was respectful. But because there have been numerous incidences where he's put himself in harm's way, he's created dangerous environments and in situations that I didn't trust my child being with him. You take the moments of speaking with your daughter and you're going to squeeze in there that I'm going to get visitation. See, that's not a conversation that you need to be having with a child. That is a conversation that you should be having with the adults that are in this situation. Before I close this out, I just want to say I'm going to fight tooth and nail to protect my daughter. With everything in me, I will fight until I have nothing left, until I have no breath in me to fight. Because a lot of people don't understand, and I think the courts and the legal system don't understand, is that it's not about the scars that you can't see. What the legal system doesn't understand is that it's more so about the scars that you can't see, and the habits and behaviors that we house and that are planted in the minds of children at a young age that force them to be adults that we are ashamed of. I'm not going to allow that. And I'm not going to allow for anyone to dictate anything when it comes to my child. So if you are someone who is thinking about having a child with, just period, I don't care if they seem like they hung the moon. Know that person in every season. Make them commit to you. And I'm not saying that a marriage can save, because people switch up, people change. I'm not saying marriage is going to make them be the person that they need to be for you. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is make sure you know that person. And if they are stripping you away or are tearing down at the fabric and foundation of who you are, know that that is not the person that you need to be with, nor is that the person that you need to bring a child into this world with. I never intended on raising my child as a single mother. I was raised Catholic. We don't believe in shacking up. We don't believe in having babies out of wedlock. We don't. I'm not going to say I'm a diehard Catholic either. I don't follow the traditions. I'm more Christian and more spiritual. But that's not how I was raised. And to have to endure some of the bullshit that is unnecessary that I would not have had to deal with if I had not chosen that specimen to be the father of my child. I would have much rather being married, and I'm not saying marriage is going to save it. I'm not saying that. But having a baby with a man who I know is going to be someone that I would want my daughter to date. I know it's a long message, but hopefully it reaches the right audience.
Be careful who you have a child with. A lot, not all, but a lot of men use pregnancy to sit women down, and that is why they are so angry when they see mums with a social life. I know the men are gonna hate to hear it, but let's get into it. A lot, not all, so that before you come with my comment, of men want a woman but want her under control. There are so many men who want a child because they know that somebody else is looking after that child. Let's be really for real. If most men knew that they would have to look after their children the way women look after children, they wouldn't want children. Or they wouldn't have children as willy-nilly as they have them now. If a lot of men had to take on the mental load of being a father and it matched the mental load of being a mother, the population would decrease. Men fully understand how hard it is to raise children, but they also fully understand, for most men, that the burden of that difficulty lays with the mother. That's why men will have 3-4 children by various different baby mothers, because the labor on them for the children is minimal. If a man had 3-4 children and he had to look after them in the house with him, maybe a lot of these men would not be having these kids. So with that in mind, what is the best way to get this woman that you want but don't like the freedom that she has to sit down? Baby, have a baby by me, baby, and be broke, struggling, stressed, anxious, overwhelmed. Because that is the only reason a man who does way less than his fair share of the child rearing can have the audacity to speak up when he sees his baby mother out socializing. Do you know how many times I've seen men and they see the mother of their child out and they're like, oh, what's she doing out? Where's the kid? Baby, that's not your cousin's child. Like, that's your child. Where is the child? You tell us. So many baby fathers will see their baby moms on holiday and start shaking like a stripper. Or see the baby mother spending money on things that they think is inappropriate and have a problem with it because they don't think that she should be able to do that because they've tried to put her in a position where she can't. But one thing I love about women, the resilience of a woman. Ladies, I love you guys. Because a woman will rise like a phoenix, a lot of us. Don't get me wrong, there are some bummy women. We ain't going to talk about you because we're uplifting on this page, but we're torturing you. But good women, oh, baby, you can leave a good woman with your child and turn around and she's a millionaire. That woman is top of the pops. Everything is patterned in her life. Like, good to go, good to go, good to go. And a lot of men do not like that, because that is not where they wanted that woman to be. They wanted to keep her down. They wanted to keep her low. They wanted to keep her in her position, which is barefoot and naked in the kitchen, making him whatever he wants to eat. And that's why a lot of you women, when you're done with your baby father, it's like he's had a mental breakdown. He's broken down. He started acting, the insanity that is coming out of his mind, his mouth, is confusing everybody, because you wasn't acting right for years. But that's what I'm trying to explain. Like, a lot of the mindset of a lot of men when they have kids with, you know, in situations where they're not trying to be serious, they're not trying to build a home, they're not trying to build a family, they just want a woman to sit down with a kid. That's why, because they just want you to sit down with a kid, and it's their kid, so they're happy about it, because men obviously want to populate and have their legacy and all of that. Now, this is not to be confused with men who just have a child with their partner that wasn't planned, or plan to have a kid and want to build a life, because there are a lot of men who are great fathers, who are in their kids' lives, who really do what they need to do for their children. I'm not talking about you men, because I love you guys be doing your big one, but the rest of you, I see you. So ladies, bear that in mind, and your life is not over. Don't ever think because you had a baby by a bum your life is not over. Do you know how many women that I know, that the more women that I know are on their first marriage with their second child? Like, a lot of the women I know that are getting married already have a kid. So stop letting these men tell you you're not valuable because you've got a kid. You are just as valuable as anyone and everyone else. What makes you not valuable is being lazy, is being uninspired, is, you know, not taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. Bringing life into the world does not make you not valuable. Okay? So I'm proud of you. Keep doing your big one.